should we expect from the 2023 housing market as we go into January, Chaz?
Well, we've got, it's interesting because some of these numbers are a little all over the place, and then you do see some slight consistencies, but they surveyed Freddie Mac, Fannie Mae, Mortgage Bankers Association, National Association of Realtors, all what their predictions are for mortgage rates. And I think in line, Mortgage Bankers Association, I think pretty much has the most realistic one, in my opinion. They're looking at 6.2% in quarter one of 2023, 5.6% in quarter two, 5.4% in quarter three, and 5.2% by the end of next year, which is really promising. But then you look at like Fannie and Freddie, and they don't get down below 6 for the entire year. But just last week on the show, when we had Brian Fay of New England Home Mortgage on, he was quoting people in the high fives already. So not really sure where that data is coming from. But yeah, they're predicting us to stay between 6.6 and 6.2 for the entire 2023.
Yeah, this is taking an average across the board here for the country. And, that's also means, the average qualifier. So, depending on your specific qualifications is going to depend on how low you can get. And so one of the things Faye was quoting was definitely, people with pretty good credit. So that impacts, how low it'll go. But yeah, I've heard multiple people say high fives right now.
Yeah, and so the average of all for quarter one between Freddie, Fannie, MBA, and NAR is 6.35. Quarter two of 2023, 6.05. Quarter three, now as a collective, we drop under 6. We're at 5.9, and then closing out the year at 5.73. Again, I think we're going to start to see some 5.4s, 5.5s by the middle of next year.
That's the prediction. That's what we're hearing is a lot of expectations from, mortgage bankers, lenders, mortgage companies that, hey, we'll be in the fives for the most part for 2023, which seemingly would help buyers who have found it very difficult to, purchase a home. But the inventory is still, in Connecticut in particular, Chaz, the inventory I think is holding people back more than anything. We're well below even pre-pandemic levels. So when you don't have options to buy, that's going to keep pushing prices up. We haven't seen in the Northeast prices come down like we've seen in other pockets of the country. So I'm tracking layoffs, what happens there, what happens with, the job market in Connecticut in particular. I believe that that's the big unknown, and that could really, and there's certain areas where job market's going to be strong. And so if the job market's strong, then you're not going to have this problem. I'm not hearing anything about, EB pulling back from their contracts and their commitments. I think that they're, in a very strong position. There have been times economically, on the eastern side of the state where we go through a recession or whatever, where EB pulls back. I believe that these contracts that they have right now are very strong. I'm not an expert in them, but my belief is that there's no issue with those jobs, right? And so, maybe you're going to have something in Hartford. I don't know. We'll see what happens with the job market, but I don't see prices falling that much off of a cliff, not in the median price points, that's for sure.
Yeah, and to your point, so I actually last December closed 2 clients that were moving in to start working for EB, and then this year 2 additional ones. So they're not showing any signs when everybody else is starting to pull back. They're continuing to hire and expand their workforce.
Yeah, I mean, it's a small business owner who could really struggle in a big way. People got less money to spend. They've got less money to spend. That could really impact a lot of people. But yeah, we'll see. I mean, obviously interest rates going down makes it easier if that's actually what happens. There's so much volatility and it's such a big unknown, but hearing predictions that'll be in the fives, that's music to my ears, Chaz.
Right, because right in 2019, we were hovering between 4.5 and 5, 4.25 and 5, right? We kind of fluctuated throughout that. So 2018, sorry, apologies, yes. Yeah.
And 19, we were down 4s, right? And then obviously we know what happened after that.
Absolutely. And so, it's interesting to your point too, because, this article that we were referencing here, the bottom part of it is about home price forecasts. And I really like what you said, where you're like, until we get inventory, the home prices can't drop off, right? We still talk about multiple offers and houses selling for over asking, but yet,
I mean, there's no such thing as it can't, but it's just, we have so little inventory. And when you look at, you know, my sister's looking right now, and she just went to look at a house that's in the median price range. You know, the median prices in Connecticut is about 350, 360, right? She went to look at a home in that range, and there was dozens of people, multiple offers still right now. And so she says to me, she goes, in my price range, let's just call it 3 to 4. Do you see prices dropping in Connecticut? No, I don't.
Nope.
No, not in that price range. If you're sitting on a $700,000 house, a $900,000 house, do I see those prices coming down? Yeah, I do. Because there's a lot of them. There's not a lot of those buyers, especially as the economy continues to get worse. But there's always going to be a lot of $350,000 buyers. And there's a lot of people that want to invest in those homes and rent them out to somebody who misses out on a house, right? So do I see those prices coming down in a big way? No, I see them continuing to be competitive. And if interest rates get into the 5s, maybe even more competitive.
Well, and even
this is all great news for me. I'm loving what I'm hearing.
I mean, you're about as screwed as it gets in terms of, I'm going to wait for a deal. If that's your mentality, you're screwed. If your mentality is, I want to buy a house for the next 7-10 years, in that price, you're going to be fine. That place is going to be worth $450 in 10 years.
Right. And even on the Connecticut shoreline, I mean, you know, you mentioned 350 to 4, but you can look from Guilford to East Lyme, where I live, and the 4 to 5 range is just as hot as the 350 to 4, because it is a slightly more affluent community along the shore there. So those home prices, you know, you look at the MLS and they're all still going 10,000 over, 20,000 over, 3-4 offers on the table.
The problem is you can't get what you think you can get for 350.
Right.
You know, that's what people are struggling with is, you know, what can I get for my money?